we need to have a serious talk. Recently, I opened up the subreddit for Marvel Champions and I read through it like I usually do, and I saw a topic that caught my eye. And it's a little concerning to me. It's a little concerning that this would be posted over on a subreddit, that this would be discussed on a subreddit. And honestly, I'm taken back. I'm taken back. Let's go check it out. I went to the post Valkyrie and D20, and I assume what this post would say is what most posts should say regarding this topic, is that I watch D20 religiously. I think he is the greatest streamer and content creator of all time, not just for Marvel Champions or board games, but just generally speaking. I expected them to talk about how much they watched all my content and they now fully understand why Valkyrie is the GOAT and they are a true believer and that they understand the intricacies of Valkyrie and what makes her so great. And then I read it and I was shocked. I was shocked by what I read. I've only recently been watching D20, which, by the way, thanks for the support. I do appreciate it, so thank you. So not sure if he's trolling or truly believes Valkyrie is the GOAT as he says. For those that have been following him for a while, can you let me know if he's actually serious? I can't imagine he is, unless he's talking about a challenge. Not that I think she's the worst. Looking at you, Groot, which is a wild statement as well. But I can't imagine anyone would consider her anything except bottom tier in strength. But he seems to think so. Now, here's the thing. I would answer this right now. I would. I absolutely would. But we just had a crazy stream, right? We had so many people, so much hype, so much fun. It's an absolutely great time, which, by the way, if you're not over on twitch.tv/D20 Woodworking, you should join over, hit the follow button, turn on notifications. It's fun whether we're playing board games, Marvel Champions, video games, or just hanging out talking. It's a great time. I don't have the energy right now to go through this, to lay the thesis down that will convince you. But fortunately, D20 from 8 months ago does have the answer. So let's listen to him. Let's go and talk about the greatest Asgard hero. Yeah. Preach. Preach, D20. Broomhilda. Maybe you've heard of her, the legend of Valkyrie. Yes. She could do it all. She can honestly do it all, right? You can detach Deathglow. That's really cool. That's fun. You can play it set aside. It's not even in your hands. So it doesn't even take up hand space. No, it's crazy. It's good. And then Deathglow itself, I mean, it's just great because you can ready up Valkyrie, right? And you can start swinging
Ready
for
up
more.
is so great.
Annabelle Rick,
We're doing that with X23. Don't look at Annabelle.
Just ignore that for a second. Valhalla, really great, right? I mean, sure, it stinks because you got to exhaust Valhalla to draw a card and heal 1 damage, which shouldn't be a thing. But you know, it's still good, right? And then Valkyrie's Spear, okay, defense. I mean, you're not defending a ton, but you can, which is nice. Dragon Fang. Now we're talking 4 swing. And you do that with aggression archetype. You can now swing for 5. Okay,
that's pretty strong.
Aragorn, right?
Don't pay attention
Valkyrie,
to chat.
4
They're
hit
just
points,
trolling.
gains the aerial trait. We talked about how great Ariel is, right?
Bomb,
Ariel's so
right?
great. Now you
Super
have a
strong.
horse. Who was
Super
it?
good.
You flying horse.
Horses
really
are cool.
Flight the Valkyrie, fantastic, right? 2 for 5 threat remove. I mean, okay. I know you have to defeat enemy with Deathglow attached, but that's a minor thing right now. And then visit Valhalla, right? Return. You can get those Valkyrie cards back in your hand. That's so awesome. That's so cool. Chooser of the Slain. You could choose the minion, right? It's not discarding pile like Thor's or whatever. You can choose the weak minion to draw 2 cards. We talked about how great card draw is.
Card draw
is fantastic in this game, and we love it, right? How good it is. That's even better. Shield Maiden, dope card, right? You can defend without exhausting and defend for 3, I think it would be, right? That's totally cool, unless you have the Spirit. Defending for 4. Defending for 4 is really good, really strong. Have at thee. Right? Overkill on an enemy, the Minion Slayer, fantastic. 3 for 7. It's not 100%.
Still good, though.
It's pretty good.
Still good with overkill. Bring
it.
You
get to ready up because of how Deathglow mechanic works.
Ready up. I love it.
Fantastic. I think she's really strong.
I agree.
And arguably one of the best. Now, I wouldn't pay attention to this card per se. I mean, you know, when you're that strong, you do need a harder nemesis for sure.
Makes sense. Facts.
You know,
Facts.
It's really good. And this isn't I mean, this isn't good either, and this is actually a really not good card, and that's a pretty bad card too.
Don't worry about that
as well. But disregarding all that, I think we can agree she's the GOAT. Yes. So above Strange. Yes. If that doesn't convince you, I don't know what will. She truly can defeat any villain, anytime, any aspect, it's probably the only hero that can actually do that. She is truly the GOAT, and I am a true believer in her and her greatness. She's amazing. She's the greatest hero in the game that's ever existed. Also, side note, some people have mentioned too that like they think that she's just my favorite. She's actually not my favorite. She's like top 5 around there, but not my favorite. I just respect her so much because of her greatness. So let's look at some memes. All right, really quick, I just wanted to look at this meme. This is Deadpool is so much fun. I can die over and over and over and not have to worry about anything. And why is the threat accelerating so fast? Like, I know people have made a comment that like, oh, it's really not that bad when with the threat and whatever, but like it always does poorly with me. It never goes well. But this was Giant Lasagna, did some other things. I think we can zoom in. So who would win? Highly intelligent AI hell bent on destruction of mankind and wields adamantium, or one scrappy boy. Types of headaches. Losing Avengers Mansion to turn one card off guard. That's like a guarantee, right? Like you will get that card, or you will get caught off guard turn 1 if you play Avengers Mansion. That is just fact. X23 after Honey Badger gets snapped by Thanos. Yeah, that's rough. I mean, you can still make her work, but yeah. Strongest Avenger Mansions fan. Weakest symbiote suit. Enjoyer. I'm slowly getting the team symbiote suit. It's slowly happening, chat. Quicksilver fighting Sabretooth. Hilarious. Love it. Usually make the call to play Lockjaw. Just, it took me a second to realize this. Like, what this, like, playing that card. And I was like, oh, yeah, Lockjaw. Play from your discard. I get it. And I like this one, too. Why don't we take this threat and move it to somewhere else? I love it. Great memes. It's been really cool to see all the different memes on the Reddit page. Like, it's really cool to see. So keep up the good work, everyone. They've been really good. All right, so this person is overwhelmed with content. I got the game in May, played the core box extensively and loved it. Brought Cap and Ant-Man in June, enjoy them too. Once school picked back up, I stopped playing, but received some stuff for my birthday and bought some things during Black Friday. Now I'm slightly overwhelmed with content. They have all of Cycle 1 besides Strange, which is good. You don't want them. Rise of Red Skull, all of Cycle 2, Star-Lord, Venom, MTS Vision. I'm not sure if I want to run heroes through the core box, try a campaign, or focus on different aspects and decks, all that fun stuff. All these heroes seem interesting, so I'm not sure where to start. Note I play true solo. Any thoughts are appreciated. And they also recently won promos because we've been doing the giveaway. We will probably be on our last day or 2 of the giveaway. Just FYI. I also recently won the promos, all this fun stuff. Definitely check them out. Yeah, you should. So I'm considering picking them up after the holidays too. Bought too much stuff. I don't know where to start. So with this, personally, I personally like to focus on one thing than the other thing, right? So if you want to run through all your heroes, run through your heroes through like different core box people. If you really have a hero that you really enjoy playing and like you understand really well and you like playing the deck or whatever, then start running through different scenarios, right? This way it's I personally don't like having 2 random things happening. Like this is what happens when I get new heroes too. I don't like when a new expansion box comes out. I don't play a new hero against a new scenario, generally speaking. I like to play the scenarios against familiar heroes or play the heroes against familiar scenarios. This way I'm taking some of the randomness out of it, that like, oh, is the hero now bad and I don't like them? Or was it the scenario was bad and I didn't like it? Right? Like it just kind of takes that. That's how I approach it. And it's just, I don't know. I like smaller bite-sized chunks. So that's how I would approach it. And then just go in release order. I think it's the easiest way to do things at that point. But definitely, I mean, with the Wolverine, Colossus, and Shadowcat, like honestly, with that stuff, what I would do is I would buy them if they're on sale, right? If not, just wait. But if they're on sale, pick them up and then just don't open them, right? I know that's weird and hard to do, but because I get it, I'm the same exact way. But just don't open them. Let them chill for a little while. Get them cheap if you can, and then yeah, that's what I would do. All right, pool aspect. Hate to say this, but I feel like they dropped the ball on this. I feel like the creators have done everything as close to perfect as they could, and this is the first time they've done something I can't be on board with. Other than cut upper with my Gamora deck, I don't plan on using it at all. I'm really hoping they don't make this a 5th aspect. Does anyone else feel the same way? So, I mean, again, I harp on this because this is what they said in their release, that they are treating this as a 5th aspect. Now, I don't think they're going to be supporting the 5th aspect. It just doesn't make sense the more and more I think about it. I think it's a one-off thing. I personally don't like it. Like I know a lot of people are just saying like treat it as a meme and whatever. And like, yeah, I mean that's what you have to do. Like you have to treat it as a meme at this point. Which is I guess fine, right? I guess it's fine. As far as like everything they've done is close to perfect, I mean, Guardians, Loki, Hulk, War Machine, Strange, right? Like they've had some screw ups. But yeah, I mean, again, there's a lot of people out there that I see the decks being made on Marvel CDB that are like really trying to put the pool deck out there and just like trying to make it work and trying to make it fun and interesting. And like, good on them, right? Like, honestly, good on them. If you yourself enjoy the aspect, like, cool. I'm not upset that it exists, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not upset that it exists because I know there's people out there that enjoy it, and that's cool, right? I want more content out there for people to enjoy. It's just not for me. And I mean, obviously, whatever comes out, I'll get it. But I hope they have more events moving forward if they do more with it. I think that would make me happy if they have more events for it. I think then it's better. It's going to be an aspect that I play around with randomly. If marbles on stream, for those that know, uh, if that decides the pool aspect, then like I'll play with those cards. But that's probably about it. But like, I don't know. I don't think they're gonna like continue it. I really don't. I think it's a meme. I think it's meant to be a meme. And I think that's how people will treat it. And look, am I upset that it exists? No, I'm not upset that it exists. Did I wish more of it? Yeah, I wish more of it. Do I want them down the road to come out with more stuff? I kind of do. It'd be nice. Like I don't want to see like completely flail out and die. And it'll be interesting in like 6 months to see if there's any more decks being made with the pool aspect or just kind of fizzles out. That will be the interesting thing to see in the future. Which of these packs do you prefer? I am available to get a pack, and I intend to get one of the old ones up to Cycle 4. So Doctor Strange, Venom, War Machine, Miss Marvel, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch. So for those that don't know, Scarlet Witch is actually my favorite hero. I absolutely love Witch. And so I personally would go with Scarlet Witch. But if you are like pretty advanced and whatever, and have a decent card pool size, like Miss Marvel is some of the most fun you'll have in this game. Like once you understand timing of things, Miss Marvel's fantastic. I am kind of shocked to see Strange so high, because there's a lot of chat in Reddit and on the forums and in general that like people understand that Strange is super strong and should be like used as a way to like just like beat up on the game if you want, or like if you have a new person, maybe let them play. But a lot of people seem not to like Strange, but yet they're telling them to get them, I guess. I don't know. And it's the ones that you think are most fun. And Venom makes sense. Like Venom, I know is a fan favorite, so like that's fine. But like, do people really think Doctor Strange is like a lot of fun? Like the most fun of this group? Like that seems shocking to me. So I have 198 votes. That's almost a quarter of the people. Wait, 50, 100, 150. Yeah, I can do math. Almost a quarter of the people think that Doctor Strange is the most fun, which seems like surprising to me, right? It seems surprising that he would be the most fun. Like Venom, I get 100%. Miss Marvel, I think makes a lot of sense. I think Witch is a lot of fun. I think Quicksilver could be pretty fun. I know there's a lot of people that love War Machine, and that's cool. I don't think he's up there, but it's interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below if you kind of agree with this list or not. More cards equal less fun for me. What to do? So they have a problem. I started playing Marvel Champions last year. First, I bought the core set and loved it. And I played with every hero and thought to myself, what a great game it is. So obviously, I bought more stuff. Rise of Red Skull, 2 champions, blah, blah. They kept going. After seeing all these great decks, they wanted to get more. And I stopped playing entirely because after a while, they bought the stuff and they stopped playing. There's too many cards to browse through now. Too many is become a hassle. I used to create my own decks when my collection was small. Now it would take hours to do. Even browsing one aspect is boring for me now. Online decks, cool, but after choosing a deck, finding singles takes a long time too now, despite having everything alphabetically sorted and using the buyers, and deciding what to play with each hero. So on top of that, all hot decks on the internet require cards from the newest expansions, which I don't have. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about the hot decks. I think okay. There's 2 ways to solve this problem in my mind. The first one is the too many cards at first, right? And this was my issue actually with Arkham Horror. So Arkham Horror, I got like all this stuff at once, opened all the stuff, sleeved all the stuff, and then people were like, "Oh, you should play X card," and I have no idea what they're talking about. Right? I have no idea what it does. I just pick online decks, but there are large sections of cards I have no idea what they do. I have no idea. And I feel like I missed out on a large part of the game by not slowly playing in release order. And for me, it's great now because like I've been playing Marvel Champions as the release order for a long time. So like I know most of the cards by heart. So with that being said, I think you should slow down and really study what you have, really learn what you have, learn what works, what doesn't work, why, what it is, and the general gist of the card, right? Learn through it. Then add cards. Like slow yourself down so you truly understand what's going on. Because now, like, I can have conversations with people and we're just naming cards to each other. And like I know what it is. I know what it does. So when I go to build a deck, I go in my head, oh, I want the card, that adds 4 threats to the main scheme, Space Fan, right? Or whatever it's actually called, under surveillance. So I know what that is in my head, and I don't have to like go look through my cards of like, oh, I hope there's a card that allows me to make the threat in the main scheme higher. You know what I mean? Like it's just easier mentally to do. Now, the second part of this is organization. So I organize everything by the dividers from Tesseract Games. That's the dividers I use from Tesseract. So everything's divided. And then I go in, generally speaking, cost order. I don't go alphabetically, I go cost order because I know what I want my cost curve roughly to be for the hero. Now, what I will say is I break the rules sometimes. So, for example, there are certain basic, let's say, upgrades or supports. I think there's supports. Basic supports like Queen Carrier, I use a lot, right? Queen Carrier gets used a lot. Avengers Mansion used to, but whatever. Endurance is, I think, an upgrade actually that I use a lot. What I do is I actually put them in the front, right, of that section. So there are certain cards like that that I use so much, and I just put them to the front. Nick Fury and Professor X, like, are just, they're not in the right order. They're actually in the front because I know I want those cards, generally speaking. When I play leadership, I know generally I want make the call and strength in numbers. So I actually have them all the way in the front. And actually, well, the cost might make sense there, but they're in the front, right? So Wolverine ally for aggression, usually he's getting played. So I put him in the front. It helps me because I know that, like, again, there's certain cards I just always want to use and always makes sense. Not always, but like makes sense like 80% of the time to use. So I might as well just put them in the front, like, so I don't have to search through it. So that helps me. But that just comes from years of like deck building and knowing kind of like my play style and what I really like using and whatnot. Now it does make it a little disorganized later on to deal with, and if you're not used to it, but that's how I do it, and it works for me. Maybe that's not what works for you. Oh, and like this, for example, Champions Mobile Bunker and the Spider into the Spider Verse, not into the Spider Verse, whatever the Spider one is called, that's like a support. Those I actually have in the back. And then I just know, like, oh, if I'm playing Champions where I need Champions Mobile Bunker or the Spider card across the Spider Verse, I think it is, whatever it's called, whatever the card's called, it's in the back, right? I know that. And then same thing with that, with upgrades or with events and upgrades. I believe now I have almost in all the areas. I have to actually look at it now. I have Psionic and Mystic near the front now because I've been playing a lot of Psionic and Mystics, and it just makes sense. So that's another thing I do. And then with events, I have the team up cards all in the back. So I know that like they're out of order, but they're in not, yeah, they're in the back. So I know all the team ups are back there. So I know how to get to them quickly because I don't use team ups that often because I play solo. Anyway, that works for me. Maybe it doesn't work for you, but maybe if you're looking for something that might help. All right, who's your favorite hero from Wave 7? This kind of makes sense being X-23. Everyone loves X-23. I'm surprised Deadpool is this high. Psylocke, Domino, Cable, Angel. Yeah, I mean, it shows how well-rounded this cycle was for how people liked things, which I think was really cool. So what's funny is I've been doing the giveaway right on stream, and we had alternate arts of all these heroes, and X-23 went away so fast. Like everyone picked X-23 right away, and Deadpool is still around, and everything else is gone. And it's really, really interesting to see. It shows to me what people like really enjoy playing, like relate to me in my stream. There's a bit of Angel left over. Cable, Domino went by pretty quick. Some Psylocke went pretty quick, right? Like it was very interesting how it worked. So these results are interesting for me. Domino is still probably my favorite, though X-23 is really good. And then past that, like Angel, Cable, Psylocke are all just kind of in the middle. Cable and Angel are probably higher than Psylocke. And then Deadpool is last by far. All right, what happens to a minion that comes in play if I'm still on the villain turn? Example, villain attacks or executes, I guess it's scheming. And the boost card is a minion that has a star, and then it says they enter the field. What happens next? Yes, the minion will activate. So you are still on the villain phase when you do that. So you have to finish the villain phase, and then it goes to the minion phase, right? So villain phase, then minion phase, and not. The only time this wouldn't happen is if you flipped over an encounter, an encounter card, right? And there was a minion there, then they wouldn't activate unless it was like a one reveal quick strike thing. But yeah, they wouldn't activate them. But yeah, if they're turned over as a boost card, you have to deal with that. So the same goes with encounter cards, because this question comes up a lot. So if you turn over an encounter card and stuff happens, like you run out of cards and you deck out and a new encounter card comes out because you decked out, you still have to resolve that encounter card. It does not get saved to the next time because you haven't finished the encounter phase. Like, just FYI on that. I see that like question come up in like chat a lot. Hero or gameplay. I was reading that the Xmen cycle sold well because of their popularity, and it got me thinking, do people play based on the heroes they like? I asked because I much prefer the way they play over heroes I like. For example, Thor is my favorite Marvel hero, but I don't enjoy playing him. And Spider, I never heard of, but is one of my favorite heroes to play. Does the community care about the heroes themselves or playstyle? I think it's twofold. Personally, I think heroes is what gets you into the game. I think playstyle is what keeps you, right? Because so I've noticed there's been a big influx of people getting into the game recently, which is really cool, right? It's really cool to see. And I feel like when people get into the game, they always talk about like, oh, they love these heroes and they want to play them or whatever. And that's totally cool, right? I think that's a good way to get into the game. I think as you learn the mechanics, you learn the ins and outs, you learn all the cool things, right? You start going, well, what heroes play fun, right? What's cool and what's different? This is the same thing with like Miss Marvel, right? I don't think Miss Marvel is like a hero a lot of people are clamoring for, but people that have played this game for a long time, almost everyone will go like, no, Miss Marvel's a lot of fun, right? And you should probably get her deck. And new people to the game would be like, why? Why would I get Miss Marvel? Like, she's not like a main draw or anything like that, but she is really cool, right? She is really cool. For those that know, like, she is phenomenal play. So I think it's twofold. I think what X-Men has done, and I think one of the great things it's done, is that it has brought a lot of new people into this. Now, it's alienated some people because I've messaged, I've talked to, I've heard from several people that just have skipped all the X-Men stuff, and they're just like ready for this to be done so they can start buying Marvel Champions again, because there's people that just don't like X-Men out there. That was, if you remember from way back when we first started talking about the 3 cycles they were going to do, and like for those that don't know, like Age of Apocalypse is the last one for at least a while. So the big talk was on this channel too are more people going to be turned off from X-Men than people that come to Marvel Champions because of X-Men? And I think it's pretty apparent that more people are coming into Marvel Champions because of X-Men. I think it also helps that like on the board game, like top 200 solo games or whatever, the BGG rankings, like Marvel is top 10, right? So if once you get up there, like people are going to recognize it and it's going to just start selling. And I do think it's a really great solo game overall. So anyway, I do think X-Men brought a lot of people in, and I think now those people are in, they're going to start looking at the old heroes, because this is a question I get a lot, is what should I buy after the X-Men, because that's probably what they got them into it. And again, I've talked about this in other videos, so go check them out because I need the views. So yeah, so it's one of those things where I think heroes get you in, and gameplay is what keeps you. If I'm stunned or confused, can I use a card of attack or thwart? Or if I use it, I lose the status. So you can use a card in the sense of losing the status, right? So if you are stunned and you have an attack card in your hand, you can play that attack card to then get rid of your stun, right? Same with being confused. If you have a thwart in your hand and you play that, it gets rid of your confused. Simple as that. Now, the other important note, and it's important to know, is that there are cards out there that are not attack cards but deal damage. You can play that while stunned, and it will deal the damage and not remove your stun. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but there are cards that exist like that. Same with thwarting, right? They remove threat from a scheme, but it's like a hero action to remove threat from a scheme. It's not a thwart action. So it's important to note, make sure you read your card all the way with that. All right, getting back into it. So I played this game roughly about a year ago and I enjoyed it, but it fell off just because other games taking up my time. So I'm looking to purchase new products to build a collection so I have a bit more deck building availability. What I have is the core set, Rise of Red Skull, Scarlet Witch. Any suggestions would be awesome. If you're deck building, I have an entire series of like what aspect cards I like. I would definitely check that out if this is like something like what you'd be interested in. But in general, if you're just trying to make your life easier, again, just if you're in the Rise of Red Skull, like stick with that cycle, because a lot of those cards are going to work together, right? If you start getting Guardians cards or whatever, like stick in cycles. Like Guardian cycle works well together. The X-Men cycle works well together. The Spider cycle works well together. Try to stick within cycles. Like, a lot of those cards play off each other and it'll help you out a lot. All right, that's it for this week's Reddit reply. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. And if you did, hit the like button, hit subscribe. All that fun stuff really helps out the channel. And hopefully this puts it to rest that Valkyrie is the GOAT. Hopefully, you all understand this now. Hopefully, you all can appreciate her now for her greatness. And I really hope they don't make another hero like her ever again because the game becomes too unbalanced. Her greatness is just too much sometimes for the game. And I get it. People get scared off playing her because they just see how powerful her cards are, how powerful she is. And I absolutely get it. So, anyway, hopefully, people will slowly come to realize how amazing she is, how fantastic she is, and wonderful she is, and that, Doctor Strange is the worst hero out there.